Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of The Human Side of Marketing, and I'm here with Kurt Stockwell. Wait, Kurt, you look so different.
This is Andy, Kurt's partner.
So yes, for those of you who don't know, I mean, I'm sure you all know, the world knows Andy. Andy, tell everybody your last name.
Dentone.
Dentone, Andy Dentone. And Andy is the partner, Kurt's partner at Walrus. You guys started Walrus together how many years ago?
2011. So
got it.
Right.
Nice. Whatever that, seven years ago.
7 years ago.
Wow. It's been 7 years. I love it. And it's cool that we get to interview Andy today because Andy is, how we call you the architect of, what's your title?
Director of Ones and Zeros.
Director of Ones and Zeros. So we got some high octane intelligence in this conversation right now. So I get to pick Andy's brain today. And Andy, we're talking today, this is episode 9, and we're talking about whether you have control over your digital assets or not. And I want to start off with first of all, what the heck is a digital asset, right? That I need to have, and do I need to have control over? So what is a digital asset?
Good question. In the context of what we were talking about earlier,
yeah,
I was referring to domain names specifically.
Yeah.
And do you have, we've run into a lot of business owners that may or may not even know where their domain name is.
Crazy. First of all, wait a minute. How does that even happen? How do I, as a business owner, have a domain name but not know where it is, how to get it, how to log into it? How does that happen?
It happens through the people like me trying to help business owners like you.
Yeah.
Not have to worry about your digital assets. So
right.
Back in the day, business owners would be like, just handle it for me.
Right.
And
who doesn't want the service provider to just handle it for them? I think that's really common. But the issue is, or the challenge becomes, if I have a domain name, I came to you, Andy, and I said, will you guys build me a website? You're like, yeah, sure. And you say, well, do you have a domain name? And I'm like, no, can you just get it for me? And you're like, yeah, we'll totally do that. And then you get the domain and then years down the road, I'm like, hey, so they just went out of business. How do I get my domain? I don't even know what my that's the problem, right?
Right. What was that guy's name?
I can't even find them online anymore, and their number doesn't work when I try to call.
Right. So we deal with that a lot.
You do?
We see it a lot. Yep.
Really? That's so crazy to me. This. Okay. So, this is why we're talking about it, because it's an important issue for those of you listening. The question is, not only do you own it, but could you access it? If you built a big business through your website and your people that had handled it for you are now nowhere to be found. And you just said, you hear this a lot.
It happens a lot.
Oh my gosh. Your business is in trouble.
Right. It's in someone else's hands.
Yeah. So there's a balance probably, right, between handling for them, but just you always want to know where that's at. I want to hear the story of hypothetically.
Sure.
Hypothetically, what could happen? Or hypothetically, what has happened?
Hypothetically, well, it's easily happens that the person that owns the domain chooses to not renew it 1 year, and then
meaning the person that owns it, meaning the actual the web company or whoever actually went and bought it on their card and handled it for the client.
Right. The person that paid for it last.
Got it.
Once that domain expires, if they choose not to renew it.
Whoa.
Right.
So, or maybe their card bounced and they didn't know, that month it was over, they were at their limit. And so didn't renew your domain name on their card.
Or the card they had on file expires.
Oh man. I could see all of this hitting the fan big time. That is a big whoops.
Very much so. Yep.
So, and you just you have saved people tons of heartache and money.
For sure.
By what?
By teaching them how to gain a little bit of control by having a free login to an account to manage their domains.
Yeah. I'm trying not to get specific on people that you have recently helped, but there's can you just tell me how you said that earlier? Before we hit record, you
which part?
Well, there was you had saved somebody
Right. So you can renew a domain for up to 10 years.
Yeah.
So the company got a website built more than 10 years ago, and the domain was under the person that built the domain name 2 business ownerships ago.
Oh
So
no.
the business has been sold and then resold,
Oh my
and the
gosh.
domain is still in the person that built the website.
Wow.
So,
Listen, so a couple of things. One, if you bought a business, this is interesting. Like I don't know that that's not the majority of the population, but if you've bought a business or buying a business, like knowing where those digital assets are held would be part of my like buying due diligence.
very much.
Who owns that domain and where is it hosted and whose credit card is on file?
Right.
When does it expire? Because you could be buying a business with the assumption that a lot of the value was in what was created online.
And we've seen that happen.
Yeah. So crazy. Okay. So domains are one kind of digital asset. Give me another kind of digital asset. Another big one.
Anything like at your hosting account or your email service provider's account. Sometimes those are also held by someone like in IT that may not be with the company anymore's name.
Right.
Same issues with expiring credit cards and unknown logins.
Right. Explain, like, if you could explain hosting in layman's terms, what is that? Like where I park my website? Like what is hosting?
Hosting in general, I describe it as you can think of it as a folder on your computer in your operating system. So you put, images and documents in that folder, and then your domain name points to that folder and displays those documents and images.
So really everything in my website is in that folder. Basically. From the text, the blog post, the videos I've embedded, everything that is my website that I can visually see is stuffed in the folder, and then my domain points to that folder.
And the database behind that folder, yes.
Got it. Okay, got it. So that's so another digital asset that can oftentimes people don't have control over or access to because they just wanted somebody else to handle it for them. Right. Is the hosting,
website backups. Those kinds of things.
Right. I didn't think about backups because I don't back things up. Like, sorry, I have to tell you, I have to come clean, Andy. Okay. I don't back things up. I'm sure I will be sorry that that has not become a habit of mine, but I will learn that. So, there's another one that I think is really important. You had mentioned a payment gateway. Sometimes, somebody may have installed a payment gateway for you, like Stripe or PayPal or whatever, and give me an example of how people can mess that up.
We've seen big businesses running, thousands and thousands of dollars of e-commerce through their website, and somewhere along the line they skipped the point where they graduated from a small business doing a couple $100s a month and didn't upgrade their payment gateway, so that all the payments were still going through a private individual's account. Yeah,
but why is that a problem? I still got paid.
Right. The business still gets the money, right? It just, you're paying too much for the money. At those kinds of volumes, you'll get discounts with better business related accounts. I would
imagine from a paper trail standpoint too, I'd imagine that having the PayPal account not in like the business owner's name or not as a sole proprietorship, now that it's an S corporation or C corporation, like you really want the paper trail to be on the up and up.
It didn't even come to light until they were trying to sell the business.
Right. Yeah. Like our entire payment gateway is my personal PayPal account.
Right.
So you would want to investigate that before. Right. Okay. That's really good. And then you had mentioned like sometimes email providers.
Right. So
how does that work?
You'll have an account somewhere that you may or may not know of that is providing an account. Like if you have a G Suite account with Google or some other hosted email account.
Go ahead.
Access to it, you don't have enough control.
I think, okay, so here's what I feel like this is good for me. I'm sort of seeing how this happens because otherwise I'm self-taught with my own web stuff and just figure stuff out. And so I've gotten familiar with stuff in the background, but if I'm somebody who came to somebody and said, hey, will you build this for me? And then the company says, yeah, we'll build it for you. Like in good conscience, we will build this for you. And they're going to use the tools or the assets that they are familiar with to build out the thing you asked to be built, like the website and the email provider and the payment gateway and all that. You just think you bought a website, but there are a lot of assets that went into making up that website. And your job, I think, as a business owner, is to not abdicate responsibility for what pieces or what assets are in my website, but to find out what they are and to get access to them, like to have the logins, to have the point of contacts, to know where that is.
And to understand the flow.
Yeah.
Right.
So you don't have to like be a director of ones and zeros.
No.
You just have to know all the ingredients that went into your website so that if something changed, if your payment gateway went away or there was a better payment gateway to use because of discounts,
right,
that you could actually make those changes and not be hamstrung, not be hands tied to a tool you don't know how to access.
Right. Or why it's even there.
I think this is so big because I think people oftentimes, I am this person, like the intimidation factor of learning website stuff. I'm like, dude, I don't want to figure that out. Please just do it for me. Right. And I think that's okay. And you said this earlier, but it's okay to outsource.
Right.
But don't abdicate. Like it's okay to outsource, but know how to control. That's the issue. That's the title of this thing. Do you have control over your digital assets?
Right.
So good. Any last minute sort of like words of wisdom or pieces of advice for people who are wanting to know about how to control their digital assets? Putting you on the spot here.
I know, specifically for your domain name. If you're not paying for your domain name, someone is. So you should probably find out who is.
Yeah. And it's probably on their credit card. Oh yeah. I mean, that's big flags. Here's what I think would be interesting. If you're listening to this and you guys are like wanting to know more about the whole digital asset conversation, I think Andy and Kurt would be good resources for you. Andy, what's a great way for people to connect with you if they want to talk to you about whether they control their digital assets or not?
Email is probably best.
Okay.
Email me at Andy, ANDY, @wdwalrus.com.
Perfect. I love it. Awesome. Andy, thank you for a great episode. You
Thanks,
knocked it out of the park.
Cool.
And I can't wait to talk to you. We're going to talk to you in the next episode too.
Sounds great.
Where, just my teaser for everybody, we're going to talk about whether you're losing customers or not based on the load time of your website. So stay tuned for episode 10. We'll catch you then. Until then, Andy, thanks for your time and we'll see you next time.